Nothing says it's time for an adventure like being in front of a computer. It's time to play Oregon Trail. I said it's time to play Oregon Trail. Well, with money, grit, and manifest destiny on the mind, it's time for the Oregon Trail, said the settlers who wanted to move out west. But first we have to build the trail, said Robert Stewart, and then he built the trail going to Oregon. Now it's time to travel the trail, said the fur trappers and missionaries in the 1830s, and they traveled the trail. Can we travel the trail, said the women. Sure, said Marcus Whitman, who brought his wife on the trail. So the families traveled the trail to farm, explore, escape debt, see beauty, hunt, find business opportunities, and it all worked out great because there were lots of buffalo to hunt and free land to take.
Knock, knock.
It's white settlers. Give us the land. Stop having it be not ours, said the government in the 1850 Oregon Donation Land Act. And so they took all the land and killed all the buffalo, and maybe got killed by natives, although that didn't happen that much. Except to the Whitmans. Remember them? Now that the trail exists, and women can travel it, and the land is free, it's time to send settlers. What's this? The Great Immigration of 1843? Let's join 1,000 other settlers in Independence, Missouri. Time to go across the Great Plains, where nothing ever happens except walking next to wagons for 15 miles a day for a month. Look, it's a rock, Independence Rock, and we can write our names on it. It means we're halfway there.
Knock, knock.
It's the mountains. You shall not pass. Try to not go through me. But the settlers passed anyway, through this pass, South Pass. Disclaimer: the United States government is not responsible if you die in any of the following ways, which includes, but is not limited to, starvation, dehydration, the flu, measles, cholera, drowning, accidentally getting shot, crushed by a wagon, crushed by oxen, crushed by anything really, killed by natives, killed by each other, cannibalism, hypothermia, exhaustion, heat stroke, hunting accidents, getting lost, insanity, and dysentery. This has been a PSA. Stay safe on the Oregon Trail. Now that 1 out of 10 settlers has died, the remaining settlers need supplies. Surprise! It's Fort Bridger, and they have lots of helpful supplies. But then the Mormons burned it down. Surprise! They rebuilt it, and now they have helpful supplies again, which is good, because winter is coming. While the majority of settlers hoped to arrive in Oregon after 5 or 6 months, many had to spend a year traveling and had to face winter, which meant it was cold, the animals hid, and the wagons broke. More than usual. But eventually they made it out of the mountains and into Oregon Territory, specifically into the Dalles, the last stop before going to Oregon City. Now that they made it to the Dalles, they just have to take a ferry to Oregon City. Note: rich, important people took the ferry to Oregon City. Poor people who could not afford to take the ferry to Oregon City did not take a ferry to Oregon City. They had to swim across the river, or after Barlow Road was built, they were able to go by land. After the 2,000-mile journey that took almost a year, they ended up in Oregon City and sent word back to the east that they built bridges, ferries, and settlements along the way, which made the journey easier for future settlers.
Knock, knock.
It's the East, and they just resolved the Civil War, and now their industry is booming, and they want to send you the Transcontinental Railroad. Then the settlers went crazy. They loved being able to get to the West, super fast, and without dying, which was a plus. Then the majority of people moving out west took trains, and by the 1890s they had stopped using the Oregon Trail. But that's not it! The impact is still seen today because of all the amazing things created by the Oregon Trail, like these states, and a great economy in the West, all sponsored by the 400,000 Americans who moved there during the second half of the 19th century. But there was one problem. All these settlers needed jobs, but there weren't any, so they made their own, and soon had a strong economy, with both agriculture and industry. This made the West's economy so good that it challenged the East's. And the West won, because today, California is the 5th strongest economy in the world. We also kept a lot of the trail values, like core family values, that are often debated about today, and a sprinkling of nationalism. We also kept the border we settled on with Britain. It still exists today, except with Canada, and thus the Oregon Trail impacted history. And that's about it. Bye.